Hello, Norwood. I'm Pat Dowling, and I'm running for City Council, Ward 2. By the way, before we get going, a big shout out to Norwood Community Television for hosting this event and all the great reporting they do on Norwood politics as well as community activities. Please consider supporting them if you can. So, who am I? Who is Patrick Dowling? I was born and raised in Cleveland. I know. I was the oldest of 8 children. I moved into Cincinnati after graduating Miami University with degrees in finance and economics in 1985. Of course, I got married. My lovely wife Vicki and I have been together for 35 years. We've raised 9 children. Plus, I'm a grandfather to 6 more with another one on the way. We moved to Norwood nearly 11 years ago. Our youngest child graduated from Norwood High School in 2021, and I have grandchildren in Norwood High School now. So why move to Cincinnati? Well, out of college, I got a job at Fifth Third Bank. I started in the training program and very quickly moved up to an operations officer overseeing their stock and bond transfer function. I was there very happy for a couple years and decided life changed, and I decided to move on to the David Joseph Company, which is an international scrap metal processing and brokerage firm. They're headquartered here in Cincinnati, by the way, if you didn't know. I was the business manager for plant operations, and I opened and closed new facilities, did labor negotiations, purchased capital equipment, was responsible for the administrative function of all those plants, approximately 15 at the time I left, and I was there for a little over 5 years. After leaving the David Joseph Company, I moved on to Syncom Systems, which is an international software company, again headquartered in Cincinnati. I started in sales there, moved into sales management, became a director, a divisional director, where I had international responsibility for over 100 people and a $40 million budget. I completed my career there as a senior vice president in cloud operations, where we moved our software into the cloud so that our customers could use it directly over the internet instead of having to install it in their own data centers. This saved them significant amounts of money. I was there for 30 plus years. The company sold last year, and this year I retired, or I became retired, however way you look at it. Retirement, however, isn't exactly what my vision was when I first thought about it or when I first heard what retirement was as a child. Today I'm the treasurer of our parish, spending a lot of time working there. I'm a play toy to grandkids, and of course I'm running for city council. I guess that's why I'm here today, and I'm sure that's what you want to hear most of. So what does city council mean to me, and what would my focuses be? My priorities, in other words. The first focus I would have is on the functional operation of city council. City council needs to be proactive in nature and not reactive in nature. We don't need to wait for votes to happen. We need to take control of processes, proactively working with city commissions like the Planning Commission, the Economic Development Commission, and bringing to the floor discussions on activities within the city before they become emergencies, before we have a situation like PLK where members had to vote on the last day or break the law for something that they didn't quite understand how they got there, the process that brought them there, or the vote that they were taking, and they voted, and I think it's probably torn part of the city apart. So understanding the process and being integrative and proactive into the process, and as part of that priority, communication with citizens. We have one councilman who wants to limit the amount of communication with citizens by reducing the time they have to speak at the beginning of meetings. I would prefer to keep it the way it is and actually open up communications on a regular basis out in the neighborhoods to hear feedback from the neighborhood. Second pillar, if you will, or priority, is our infrastructure. We all know our streets are bad. The other day, the term was used, someone was asking about speed humps, and the response was, well, we have lots of speed humps. They're inverted speed humps. Of course, that refers to the potholes, right? To keep us all from speeding on the streets. We can only do so much with the money we've got. However, we can, in a very transparent manner, prioritize our street resurfacing. Working with the city and an independent organization, prioritize the street resurfacing, and with that priority, communicate it to the citizens so that they know exactly what's going on and when they might expect their own streets to be surfaced. Coupled with streets, though, we have a sidewalk problem. Our sidewalks are in pretty bad shape, too. My idea would be to have the city negotiate with a contractor or multiple contractors to do city sidewalk work, and then citizens can contract with them individually at reduced rates to come and fix their sidewalks. We all know citizens are responsible for their own sidewalks, but citizens would pay a hefty price to do one block or a whole sidewalk in front of their home. With the city's help, maybe we can reduce that cost tremendously. In other words, a win-win for the citizens and the city. And third, within that pillar of infrastructure, parks. We've got some great park locations, 1 or 2 parks close to each ward in the city, and we need to make sure that they're up to par. We need to make sure that they're usable for the citizens. The third pillar would be safety. We all see what's going on in Cincinnati, the number of shootings, robberies, carjackings, etc. We've even seen some of that come to Norwood. But our Norwood Police and Fire Department are great. If you've ever had to call them, you know they come within just a couple minutes. And when they arrive, their professionalism is outstanding. I've even had to call them when my wife has had a seizure. They're quickly resolving the problem, sometimes at the hospital, sometimes staying at home. But coupled with that, we need to then work on our parks from a safety perspective. Some of our parks are in, dead-end neighborhoods, and if we don't have police officers or safety personnel visiting them a couple times a day, they can be open to otherwise nefarious activities. So add a park safety program to the list of the safety pillar. And finally, the last pillar, the fourth pillar, business development. We need to find a way to fill the storefronts on Montgomery Road and other streets that are largely empty and fill the businesses or at least the office buildings that sit empty or nearly empty with businesses that are wanting to come to Norwood. One of the ways to do that is to reduce the red tape to get businesses here. You might all know Pike Street Cafe, which closed down. It used to be the old Bluebird. Well, a gentleman bought that. He can't get it open because the city requires him to purchase a new hood for his kitchen. A new hood for a hood system that was just in use the month before costs about $50,000. It's prevented him from reopening that restaurant. Another empty storefront. How about helping businesses reduce the barriers to finding new businesses? A restaurant oftentimes likes to have a sign. Well, the legislative process in Norwood requires signs to be of certain heights or not out in the open. Signs need to be seen. It's an example. It's not the only thing. If we can attract those new businesses, we got to find a way to keep them. Keeping businesses is easy. Yes, we need to reduce some red tape to make it easier for them to stay in business. But the real thing that we need to do is we need to improve the attractiveness of the city and the community to them. The quality of our city services, the quality of the environment that we live in, the ease of doing businesses. Those are the things that we really need to focus on to keep businesses here. And finally, I think we need to reduce our reliance upon big bank projects. Rookwood is a great location. Most people don't even know it's in Norwood, but that's our little secret. But if you can remember, it took a long time to get us there and several lawsuits. PLK now. The Factory 52 area is going great, but the old Quality Inn Hotel is mired in lawsuits. Our own education department is suing the city. These big bang projects take a lot of effort and a lot of time. The price is high, and the price we have to pay in terms of tax credits, etc., is too high. Let's really focus on getting small businesses here in Norwood, working with the various community organizations, both within and outside the city, to make Norwood the place they want to be. Thanks for listening today. I appreciate it very much. And I also appreciate your vote on November 4th. Pat Dowling, Ward 2 City Council. Thank you very much.